Blog Talk Radio.
What's up, everybody?
Oh my God, that is so him. Did you see him? That's really Aseer, that guy right there. Yeah, that one with the feathers. Oh my God, isn't he so beautiful? He's just so dreamy, you know? And I really love being around him. He's absolutely fabulous. It's just that, every time I talk to him, he's just about this black talk, everything he says is just so black. It's just like black. I mean, I don't even, know what to say to him sometimes. It's like so black, and it's black people, and it's black stuff, and it's black hair, and it's black thing. I mean, it sometimes drives me crazy. Do you know what I mean, Sally? I mean, do you?
I talk that black talk, that you out in white talk. Hip walk, push it talk, jacking like a beanstalk. Open up, let us in. We be about that dividend. We be about that major move. Ain't think about no extra friends. We want that black talk, and you out in white talk. Hip walk, push it talk, jacking like a beanstalk. Open up, let us in. We be about that dividend. We be about that major move. Ain't think about no extra friends.
Well, I huff step up, let the whole house down. Major sound, that's time for the down. People come from miles around. I make these white folks start to frown, because they know when it tips it down. How about that nigga burn the whole shit down? Wear that crown on my head. Maybe maroon, maybe red, maybe Morocco, maybe fed. Most act live when they really dead. Beta Satan, they be waiting. Wanna eat the food before you get it on the plate, and the Satan's taking 8 cents. They oats on empty books. A society based on looks. Lucifer cooks the books, but I'm proof that by the door. Call me that noble more. Navigate that 7 seas. Crusaders all they need. Call me that black or pope. I sell these crackers dope. That's round them in like rope. Ask me if I like them, no. My quote's already dope. Before this rhyme was dope. Simple across that capital mode. Cause I'm the one that's dope. I find a way to talk about that black talk every day. That's how I always say that I am here to say that black talk, that you out in white talk. Hip walk, push it talk, jacking like a beanstalk. Open up, let us in. We be about that dividend. We be about that major move. Ain't think about no extra friends. We want that black talk, and you out in white talk. Hip walk, push it talk, jacking like a beanstalk. Open up, let us in. We be about that dividend. We be about that major move. Ain't think about no extra friends. When I walk in the party, it be like who is showed it. I feel they eyes up on me, cause I'm the one they wanted. Because I got it, flown it. I teach it, take it, tone it. I whip it, rip it, show it. Like Zora on a horse it. This glamour glitch and gloss it. This fragrance fly and floss it. I spend so much it's costly. Empress's gumbo sauce it. Niggas is mad cause I lost me. Another life, another time, get off me. Cause I'm that earthly coffin. Black Bonner be the boss it. White folk, they love feeding off me. But I be killing them softly. So if you bring that here, you better be very clear. The use of tears and empress of 10,000 years is here. Putting black talk in your ear. That truth you might just fear.
I talk that black talk, that you out in white talk. Hip walk, push it talk, jacking like a beanstalk. Open up, let us in. We be about that dividend. We be about that major move. Ain't think about no extra friends. We want that black talk, and you out in white talk. Hip walk, push it talk, jacking like a beanstalk. Open up, let us in. We be about that dividend. We be about that major move. Ain't think about no extra friends.
That's what's up. You're now rocking live with Super Heru Radio 3.0, man. This is your host, Aseer the Duke of Tears. Inshallah, my brother, Assad Ali, will be able to tune in. Because I think he's on his way back from the job and all of that. So we're doing the best we can with what we got, guys. So much stuff is going on always, man. And I be hating to bore y'all with technological stories and shit, but for those that don't know, there's a Facebook virus going around, and it's messing people's stuff up. So me and the Queen, we just joined Facebook maybe 3 months ago. You know what I mean? Maybe not even that long. But either way, something said, we was on it from earlier, and then when I got off, right before the show, I do a lot of things to prep. So right after I logged off Facebook, my entire computer just went out. You know what I'm saying? Now, remember, when we was coming up, the way that computers was marketed was that they were going to make everything easier and better and so forth and so on. But as you can see, only thing that these things have done is make our lives progressively more and more complicated, because none of these computers work the way they're supposed to be working. And then two and three, you have people who basically, really what we should do the knowledge to is that all computers in the beginning were created based on military application. The first IBM computer that was created that William Cooper had called the Beast was created back in the mid-1930s. From the mid-1930s, they basically created an encryption system in which they used to maintain in the so-called, what do you call those things? The whole Holocaust thing. When that thing went into effect, they basically used the numbers that they put on the people who they call the prisoners, or whatever you want to call them, the Jewish people who were the prisoners. They basically put numbers on them. Those numbers were basic encryption codes that were used to identify each person as they put them into this beast, into this prototype, what would become the IBM computer. So basically, most encryption devices and all computers that run on binary systems, binary meaning two, meaning that there's an operative protocol, meaning a public side to your computer and a private side to your computer. Now, I'm not a computer expert. You know what I'm saying? That's not me. I'm trying to sign back into my thing while I'm talking to y'all at the same time. Through another laptop. I had to go next door to my neighbor's house to get her laptop so that way we could log into the show. And just see. We'll put the disappear. Lowercase though. One word. Hello? So essentially, this is what's going on, But then I find in other instances, though, other people have no problems with their computers. It's like, I know people got shows that come on like 5 days in a week, and they don't never have no computer difficulties. So it's like the shit that really makes me do the knowledge to that is just the fact that there must definitely be something going on. There has to be something happening in which some of us get to be heard and being put out on, let's say, a mainstream thing, and then others are not. You know what I'm saying? But others have more difficulty doing so. You know what I'm saying? So essentially, these are the things that be going on. You know what I mean? And these are the things that make me think that there's definitely not only something going on, but there's a concerted effort within the movement that we call ourselves a part of that is definitely doing one thing to some people and another thing to other people. So when I did the knobs to that, I started thinking about that whole, what we were talking about in terms of the binary system. You know what I mean? Now, when we deal with binary systems in terms of constellations and stars and all that type of stuff, we're dealing with a solar system or a galaxy that may have two stars. Yeah. May have two stars. Yeah. Or one letter, lowercase. Having two stars, right? We, living in the so-called Milky Way, have been taught that we are in a singular solar system, which makes this solar system one of the most interesting ones out of all of the rest, because basically everybody else got a twin system but us. So when we do the knowledge to binary systems, twin systems, or groups working in tandem together, what we're really talking about. Okay. What we're really talking about is the dual nature of physical reality. as it is manifested and continues to manifest upon itself. I don't want it on anymore. I don't want it on. It's distracting. You get what I'm saying? Sorry.
Everything is good.
Again, guys, bear with us.
What do you need, baby? My content?
I got it. I just go to this.
My switchboard?
And we should be good. So again, one monkey don't stop no show. But in my understanding and really doing the knowledge to this whole binary aspect of it, or this twin system of it, what I really started doing the knowledge to is the fact that we, or the United States as a country itself, has been twinned. Just get it, I got it. The United States as a country itself has been twinned. You know what I mean? Now, when we say twin, I'm talking about the act of twinning. The act of twinning is when you create a situation where you have one aspect that, let's say, is real, another aspect that is fictional, right? But what happens is, in a twinning sense, when you're trying to program something or somebody, what you're doing is you're programming them to make almost a clone of themselves. Where you have a situation where you have a guy, let's say, and this guy is a really good guy or whatever, but then let's say you want this guy to do something. And this guy may not want to do that in his waking self. What you do is you create an alternate personality through, again, trauma-based programming. And this is not just government shit. I'm talking about this is the shit that happens to black children, white children, Indian children, yellow children every day by their parents. You know what I'm saying? It's when you create a situation where you are going to force an entity or an intellect to your frame of thinking regards to who or what, and you're going to use a certain degree of mind control programming to solicit that. Now, mind control programming that's based on trauma-based programming is usually coming from a perspective of somebody trying to get somebody to do something that person may not do in their regular self, in their waking life. So again, what you do is you almost create a clone personality. And based on that clone personality, you superimpose that personality on top of the original person's personality. Same way, like, I knew when people was trying to break into my computer, to draw the correlation, when I would go onto the main blog talk page and it seemed like there was a fake page printed over it. You know what I'm saying? Which then, that's it. We're good. That's fine. So essentially, these are the type of things that we wind up dealing with in everyday life, but really don't understand that these are the things that are almost impeding our own progress. Because a lot of us are walking around here and don't even think that this is what's going on. A lot of people don't even think that they have been programmed, or that somebody is following them, or something, or there is a concerted effort of people trying to maintain or create a fictitious reality to get other people to become subordinate of. These are the aspects of twinning that become the reality of the lives that a lot of us be living. Unfortunately, because a lot of us don't like to believe that we're that we can be duped like that. You have a lot of people that's walking around here totally programmed in the dome, but they acting as if they're not. And not only that, they are out here promoting energy and promoting ideas to people in which they have really no semblance or understanding for themselves. Good night, buddy. I love you. You know what I'm saying? And these are some of the things that go down, you know. So in doing the knowledge to all of that twinning stuff, I started really researching aspects of, let's say, because, you know, we talking about the Moors and things like that. And we talk about black history and knowing yourself and knowing the law and all this other stuff. But how many of us really can tell the difference between what the United States is or was and what it's supposed to be? You know what I'm saying? What it is now, that looks great, buddy. What it is now, my son just showed me his Iron Man glasses. What it is now is a de facto corporated entity. So when you have a lot of these Moors, you know what I'm saying, that talk about like a lot of the older ones talk about how we are part and parcel into this so-called said government, you know. That's cool or whatnot, but what does that really mean? And which government are we part and parcel of? Are you a part and parcel of the administrative government of the United States in the United States of so-called America, right? Or are you part of the general United States of America and the family of nations? Now, those of us who understand that understand that the family of nations is older than the United Nations. The United Nations is a de facto incorporated version of what the so-called United Nations, the family of nations was. Now, when you do the knowledge to the family of nations, there is no history or beginning or ending date of that so-called, entity. Yet, at the same token, when you do the knowledge even further, you will find that the family of nations goes all the way back into time immemorial. And they're actively or actually images of and talks about the family of nations in things like the Book of Coming Forth by Day, on the so-called temple walls of Kemet, as well as the temple walls of Mesoamerica. But I'm not going to sit here and bore you and go into all of those in depth right now. I just want to build on a perspective of what I've been doing in knowledge to is the fact that when you twin an entire country or an entire civilization, what happens is everybody within that civilization becomes a twin. And then when you break those twins up, then you get even further and further. Now, in terms of astrology, let's do the knowledge to that. You would have the twins Castor and Pollux of Gemini. You know what I'm saying? But when you really go even further in that, you would also find that, the act or the science of twins can also be found in things like the Yoruban culture. You know, there are different levels, you know, of so-called twin stories in terms of creation myths and things like that. But when you really start doing knowledge to them, that's when you start to see that there's an underlying thing, almost like a cautionary tale when it comes to that, when it comes to twins, right? Cain and Abel, perfect example, you know what I mean? Cain, since we're talking about twins and energy, right? Cain represented a concept or a system or mode of thought that we could call a cathode system, right? Whereas, an anode system. Whereas his brother Abel, symbolic Abel, was coming from from an anode system. Now, cathode and anode gets into, again, electronics, but it deals with the flow of currency, i.e. information, i.e. electricity, i.e. melanin from one perspective to the other. So the cathode system is more based on, let's say, a Cain ideology, meaning that the cathodes are the people, or the cathode energy is the energy that is very binding, very constrictive, very let me control the situation as best as I can. You know what I mean? Even if I feel out of control, I'm going to control it no matter what. The anode system says, I control what I can control, and I do what I can do, and that's it. I don't do nothing else. In essence, I leave the rest up to the Creator. So in that perspective, you're dealing with also the right and the left hemisphere of the brain and how they relate to each other in terms of working out specific problems. But when something happens to break down the communication between both hemispheres of the brain, right, you get a certain aspect. Some people have what they call trans-universal hemispheric brain waves, meaning that one part of the brain, when that one part of the brain can access at will the other part of the brain. You know what I'm saying? Whereas most people, again, are not like that. This is why when you look at the brain, the physical brain or gray matter itself, you see that there's a split that goes down in the middle, right? Now, the funny thing is when you read some of the early so-called Egyptologists, when they would go in and they would try to, find or whatever, when they would try to find so-called Egyptian people's brains or whatever, they said that, well, what happened was we couldn't find the brain because the Egyptians didn't think the brain meant anything. So what they would do is they would stick a hook up the person's nose if they was embalming and pull the brain out, strand by strand almost, Now, again, the crackers, these people don't waste nothing, you know what I'm saying? And anytime a highly advanced super culture, you're going to tell me that these people don't know what a damn brain is? But whatever. When we're dealing with what's happening to us, within us, what we have to begin to start to do is to really start to strip down the false us versus the real us. And we all have issues with that. You know what I'm saying? We're all dealing with parts of ourselves that we wish that we could really reconcile and be honest with, if not ourselves, other people about, who and what our intentions and stuff like that really are. But unfortunately, some of us are not strong enough to do that. And that's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's just we're in a situation now where the more unreal you are, the closer it's going to be for you to wind up getting up out of here. And I don't mean in necessarily a nice way. I mean that the decisions that we make now are echoing through eternity, man. And they're creating, and every choice we make is creating an alternate reality for us to walk into. But if you're not the one making the choices about those realities, if you think that you're the one making the choices, and really you are allowing yourself to be used or manipulated to get something out of those choices, then you will fall by the wayside. That means that you are not you. That means you are basically a clone of yourself. You know what I mean? Unfortunately. And a lot of us are suffering from these very same symptoms. So like what I was saying, when you twin a country, the United States itself was twinned, you know what I mean, way back in 1791. Now, depending on whose history or whatever you read or whatever school of thought you grew up in or came out of, you'll find, different aspects of the story that, again, are going to reflect how you've been brought up to understanding. I'm not here to debate none of that. I'm not here to get into whether slavery happened or not or whatever. I leave that for other people, you know what I mean, because those things, it's not to say that they're irrelevant to me. It's just the point where there's a lot of other things that we really should be focusing on that we're not. And we're not focusing on them because we are choosing to allow ourselves, again, to be distracted. And those distractions create more distractions, which then create more alternate realities, which then create more divergent realities that we then get sucked up in because we've allowed a clone to think for us. Now, case in point, I'm going to go through the original aspect of what the Republican form of old Dominion government was, and then the mirror aspect of it, okay? So when I say Republican, though, I'm not talking about George Bush and these people. That's just the name that those people have used to conceal who and what the original name for their party was. The original name for the so-called modern-day Republican Party was the Redmond Whig Party, the Whigs, W-H-I-Gs. And the Whigs, or the Redmond Whig Party, adopted the term Republican after the last session of the original Continental Congress, a.k.a. the Iroquois Confederacy, a.k.a. the Continental Congress of the United States of America and General Congress Assembled. Okay? Now, this is the type of law that if you want to really get into this type of jurisprudence, you have to then create an acumen, meaning a certain degree of study and comparative research as to what the Articles of Association was, what the Articles of Confederation was, what the so-called Constitution of the United States was, what the Bill of Rights is, and all this other stuff. Okay? Now, there are some people in our community who's like, fuck all that. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool, too. You know what I mean? Because part of me, after I got to a certain level of the game and started realizing how and what I could use and what I didn't need and what, part of me started not even dealing with a lot of this stuff, too. However, the Creator don't make no junk. And any tool in a war is a tool you should use in one form or fashion, you know. And again, we have been in wars for the past 6,248 years, you know what I mean. And then prior to that, if you had another 6,248, you were basically get to when that war started. You know what I mean? But now that we're towards the end of it, you know what I mean? It was only at the very end of it that the Caucasian so-called enemy came on the planet. But because he was the last, he had to basically, or it had to basically go so far in terms of its program to destroy and maim and just get rid of everything that, you know, it has made itself the enemy of all creation. Okay? But that was its journey when it incarnated here to do that. So it's not really for us to get so caught up or so angry at these beasts that we feel that, or that we get to a point that we feel like we got to get on their level to destroy them. You know what I'm saying? Murder is murder of the devil is just that, murdering the devil. However, the devil itself is no longer just quantified or qualified in the so-called white man. It ain't been him, or it ain't just been him for a long time. It's to the point now where just because you have people that feel that because they have melanin or because they have a certain degree of understanding or whatever, it gives them the right to just run through people and just destroy whole communities and societies based on the fact that they are the ones that got melanin. I mean, look at all of the so-called Africans in Africa that's circumcising their women, that's having sex with little babies because they think it's going to cure them from AIDS, or stoning a woman for not wrapping her head, you know what I mean? Or literally killing someone because you don't like the way, or you don't like what tribe or whatever you come from. All of that type of stuff, all that form of feudalism is post-colonial trauma that niggas are still dealing with. But when we say colonial, you know what I'm saying, we're still talking about the same system. The same system that existed in colonial, let's say, Morocco, is the same system existing right now in so-called America. The only difference is the cycles have sped up so that people have no patience for anything that did not happen maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe even 3 months ago. The average attention span of the so-called American is deteriorated to such that they cannot occupy a clear conversation. To show and prove that, you could be talking to somebody directly, and the more direct you speak to them about what it is you're trying to get across, the more they saying, the more they can't hear you, the more they feel like they, you talking, down to them or whatever. But again, are you really talking to them? Or are you talking to the part of them that has been twinned and cloned to the point that they feel that they are the original copy, when really they are the original version, when really they're just a copy of that? So again, when we get into how the United States was twinned, it was twinned through a series of documents that came at a specific time, you know what I mean, that in a sense was sanctioned by different groups. Some of those groups who were Moors or whatever. But again, just because you got melanin, just because you're black, that don't necessarily mean that you're a brother, and that don't necessarily mean you're a conscious brother in that. And this goes to the times we in now, as well as the times in the past. You know what I'm saying? It's the same people. Because again, the same people getting at you then is the same people getting at you now. There is no change. Because the cycles or the people have not ascended themselves enough to the point where they feel that they are ready or can achieve or can access a direct experience. You know what I'm saying? People don't even realize what direct experiences are. But a direct experience is something that happens to you that has a spiritually resonating force that makes you take heed to what the experience is and find ways for you to integrate that into your everyday life and actually evolve or extend based on that experience. How can you even know what experiences you having when every other minute you're being traumatized by something you've seen on TV, whether you realize it or not? People don't realize when you get into an argument with somebody, a basic argument, cholesterol, which is an enzyme that secretes in the body that goes into the organs and everything to basically fill them up with almost like a liquid that will harden to protect the body from physical trauma. See, the body doesn't realize that if you argue with somebody that you arguing, whether you arguing with them or fighting with them, the body don't know. So the body just builds up all this cholesterol in itself. The more cholesterol the body gives up, or I should say the more intense the argument becomes, the more cholesterol is built up. And then the more cholesterol is built up in that argument, the body is preparing itself for some type of impact, for some type of hit, for some type of reconciliation in a physical way. But see, in an argument, when that doesn't happen, what happens is that cholesterol that is good basically becomes bad because now it is not being used. Therefore, the aspect of it that's supposed to secrete and go back within after the impact or the trauma has been passed can't. So it doesn't go anywhere. Once it doesn't go anywhere, it settles around the organs and the arteries that it secreted itself around to protect, and then it begins to become hard and calcified. When that hard and calcified cholesterol begins to build up, it can then put strain on the heart because it is now putting more emphasis on sustaining itself because it isn't being used, and so it just keeps secreting. And the more it secretes, or the more, let's say, false starts or false arguments or fights or whatever you get into, the more strain on the heart, and then eventually you fall into cardiac arrest. So I say that to say that when we we find ourselves as original people arguing and fighting about shit that has really nothing to do with our survival here on this planet. What happens is all this cholesterol is building up, and what it's doing is creating a whole race of obese, out of shape, can't breathe, can't eat right people. That the crackers already said by 2034, 95% of all black women in the United States are going to be obese. But this came out after they did a report basically saying that 1 out of every 2 black women got some type of venereal disease. You know what I'm saying? So you really gotta start doing the knowledge to what it is we are doing here and who we are while we're here. Because a lot of us are not even consciously aware of the fact that a lot of us are just here to stop each other from getting places. Again, we all are made in the divine light of the Creator, regardless of who or what. However, not all of our intent once we incarnate here is for the best. Because a lot of us, again, are incarnating here to do the opposite of what we're supposed to do here. Because a lot of us wind up in this situation and feel like we just need to stay. Or that this is it. Or that physical reality is the end all to be all of all realities, and all the other realities can go to hell because we're just going to keep this one going. But guess what? If you are in a physical reality where you can't get in the water because oil then just destroyed half of the plankton that actually helps create the algae, that actually helps create the flora, that actually helps create the archipelago or the ecosystem, then physical reality starts not looking that good. You know what I'm saying? But see, with us, we have the ability to raise up out of this. But a lot of us, again, have chosen to be the opposite of what we profess we are. And those of us that are on that tip need to reconcile within themselves and basically get on that course that you are trying to be on. You know? Like, don't try to be, if you're a bad person, or you're a type of person you just like scamming people or whatever, what makes you successful at that is the amoral nature of being able to just take people for shit. You dig? If that's what you're going to do, then do that. But don't make apologizes for it. Don't make excuses for it. And when you get caught, man up, woman up, say that this is what it needs to be, and this is why I did it because I was off for me. Because then, at least then, you can still have a certain degree of your own integrity as a person, because you are at least being honest with the one person you can't lie to, and that's yourself. Hold on, let me put on my shirt. This is the most crucial time for all of us, man. And we are all in this theater that we're calling physical reality right now. And this theater, this show is getting progressively worse, closer to the end than we get. So those of us that really care about that need to start doing it knowledge. And I think one of the ways to do it, especially now that we're reaching the end of the so-called United States as a world power, as a country, as an idea, since we reaching the end of that phase, I think it would behoove a lot of us to kind of know what happened and how it went awry and why. But to know that, you got to know the difference between the original and the mirror. The original was when we was rocking it in the Old Dominion. So, like, look at it like this. Under the General United States of America and the Family of Nations, i.e. the Republic, Moorish, original Old Dominion jurisdiction, everything was more or less solidified and substantiated in 36 U.S.C. Title 172. That's when you had the original pledge, right? What's happened now under the so-called administrative government of the United States of America, you have 36 U.S.C. 171. See, the first one was an older pledge. This new pledge under 171 came out. It was about God and history, see? Then we go into 4 USCS Chapter 2, 41, which shows the official seal, right, under the Republican form. On the so-called administrative fake government form, you have the 4 USCS, Section 41, which represents the Great Seal, strictly from 1935 to 1986, because the person who put that Great Seal on the dollar was FDR, and he ruled for 12 years. There's a movie that's about to come out about him and his Shriner ties called The Last President, and it's supposed to get in about how J.P. Morgan and this other one was going to assassinate him before he became president, because he didn't become a Mason until he became president. You see, that's what kind of set him apart from a lot of the other ones. But that's a whole other story. So, again, you have a de jure government, and then you have a de facto. The de facto government is the one letting the BP people mess up everything with the oil and everything else. The Republican form is all y'all that's listening to the radio show right now. You know what I'm saying? Or we'll tune in later and put other people on. So when we get into, for instance, under the corporate United States, you're a 14th Amendment citizen, but in the Republican form, you are what would be considered a natural-born citizen. In the Republican form, you have the Senate of the United States. In the administrative form, you have the United States Senate, which is not mentioned in the Constitution at all. Okay? In the Republican form of government, you have the laws of the United States, right, which were the laws that were handed down to govern the federal states that would basically would be equated more like to be almost like tax shelters to protect us from foreign wars, right? So you had the laws of the United States. Under the fictitious system, the system we're in now, you have what's called the judicial system. You understand? You have the president of the General National United States Government under Article 2 and Article 3. That's why if you get jammed up in court, you should demand to be taken to an Article 3 court, because in an Article 3 court, that's the jurisdiction that they can't really get into. Whereas all the other courts of the United States are basically all under what they call the 12th Amendment, which again are war amendments that were added at a time that the country is in national emergency. But anytime you have something added in emergency, once the emergency is gone, you should take it off, right? It's not like when your house burns, if your house is on fire, right, and the fire doesn't totally engulf the house, you don't destroy the whole house once the fire is put out. you just rebuild. No, these dudes did the opposite. And we allowed it, because a lot of us were coming under the jurisdiction of the said United States. Because there was a lot of us who didn't want to go with what happened to the old empire. Because the Moors, of all creeds, nationalities, was on some bullshit. Enslaving each other, enslaving this white man, saying that the white man's a devil, but then marrying his women, and all this other stuff. So it gets progressively worse, as we could say. So those were just some of the things that I've been doing knowledge to in terms of how deep this control thing is going. It's getting to the point that a lot of us don't even know what plus we think in ourselves. A lot of people are just doing things haphazardly and thinking that it's going to work out for them. And a lot of times it don't. Like, I was doing analysis of some of these current events as well. Going down. I just did the knowledge on Reuters that $1.25 billion was set aside in a settlement that the United States had to hand over to so-called black farmers in the Midwest who had been being pushed out and being forced to sell their farms or go into a modern version of sharecropping, right, where they got to pay money to live on a farm that they already own, more or less, and then have to give up their goods to a free trade market that undervalues their goods. What that means, though, is that being that they was awarded this 1.25 million, they got to come off this cheese. Now, the question is, where this money coming from? Because at the same time, they just settled, it was $1 billion, 1.25 billion. They just settled another thing with some of the Native American tribes where they just awarded them $3.4 billion in the settlement. Now, do the knowledge to that. The black farmers got 1.25 billion, right? The so-called natives got 3.4, right? And the reason why they gave them that, who was awarded that, the Interior Ministry of the United States awarded them that on the grounds that they knowingly mismanaged all of the lands that they had ceded from these natives from from 1870. So from 1870 to now, they're saying these dudes, what they did to them is worth $3.4 billion. That's cool. But guess what? They just also settled another $1.3 billion to settle female and Latino women farmers who have been discriminated against by the Department of Agriculture. I do the nod for that. 1.25 billion, 3.4 billion, 1.3 billion. This is what the United States has to pay so-called people within the domestic borders of the so-called United States. Now, think about this. These settlements, or specifically the one about the Latino women and all of that went down maybe a month before the whole Arizona immigration thing went down. So when I did the analysis to that, it gave me a different perspective as to why these dudes is going so hard with Arizona and why this whole Arizona thing is going to wind up coming to other states. Because, one, the United States government is insolvent. We talked about last week the difference between insolvency and bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is a legal term. So that would only be, that really is not really used and only applicable in cases of, specifically of law. Whereas insolvency is something dealing specifically with the financial resources of a said business, country, or corporation. So what is really happening with this Arizona thing is almost a reaction to the fact that white America is starting to pay back billions upon billions upon billions of dollars of reparations to its own people, but because they're not using the word reparation, they're using the word awarded. You see what I'm saying? Because reparation, again, is not a financial term. You see what I'm saying? Restitution is a financial term. So, one, they're flipping the language, and two, they've created a situation where they are finding ways to get out of the fact they have to award, like with Katrina. Like, everybody know that 68,886 acres was ceded back to the original people of Ouachita proper by way of Poverty Point. Those people who listen and who know about the Ouachita and things like that, you would know that things were done where it was proven that the Ouachita, a.k.a. the original man and woman of the Americas, the Asiatic people spoken of by the 5% Nation Islam, that we are the true inheritors of that, and that the Louisiana Purchase was actually a military expedition because Lewis and Clark were Pinkertons, which was the CIA of the 1800s. And that whole thing was more like a reconnaissance mission to take over lands that weren't properly given to them. And then the forced movings and jurisdictions and Trail of Tears and all of that was the cover-up. Okay? So when everything was ceded back and given back to everybody, they now have to start paying all of this money back. So instead of them doing that, it was decreed that they would start proceedings to start giving the lands back and making the people aware in August when they were supposed to start. This is right before Katrina. Then Katrina happens, and then all of the people that they're supposed to notify as to what was going down and who the land was and what happened in The Hague and who the empress is and all of that, all of those people are now dispersed. They taken to the Astrodome where they was processed, and then from there they started FEMA camping them and putting them out in different places, and then they was putting them up in trailers full of asbestos and stuff to keep killing them. This is symbolic to when the United States would set up trading posts and then sell the natives blankets infected with smallpox. It's the same system because it's the same people. Just a different time. So essentially, the Arizona immigration bill is basically white America's last stand. It's the death rattle of white supremacy as an institution that is now being systematically broken apart and redistributed to the same people, right? Right. But what those people are doing is they are finding ways to amalgamate into us so that way we can carry on their agenda in our bodies into the hereafter. And we are participating in that when we do things like join, government institutions and all of that by thinking that those jobs are secure. Policemen, I'm not really talking about, but then again I am. It's the whole system itself that is proven to be infallible. Been proven to be infallible, proven that it doesn't work, proven that it's killing people, proven that all of these things, we are still in it. Because we have not come up with the new thing, what it's going to be. Queen is like, well, because we can't unify. And that's true. But then the question then goes as to why. Why can't we unify?
Ego.
Queen said ego. when I spoke to Assad about it, he was like, well, it's more of the fact that a lot of us have chosen not to do anything about it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us have chosen just to come here and talk about it, and that's cool because everybody should exercise themselves how they feel. That's what sovereignty is. Yet sovereignty to most people nowadays equates itself to paperwork and what type of IDs filing and what tags you got on your car and things like that. And Noble Ali wasn't talking about none of that. Father Allah really wasn't talking about any of that. Noble Ali, in fact, reprimanded, when you read the oral history of the Prophet, there's a section in there where he reprimanded some of his people for being up in the bar with their feathers on. You know what I'm saying? And riding around drunk, you know, with Moorish ID. Like, he was against that type of stuff. Yet, we as a conscious quasi-Moorish community have not created a standard protocol for all Moors to follow. That's why some of us will have victories and some of us won't. Because a nation divided within itself cannot stand. Yet our nation, again, when I say more, I'm talking about everybody. But a lot of people find offense to that, and that's their opinion. Yet Moorish science showed me that the Moors, or a Moor, is everything in terms of maintaining culture, because they were the ones who brought the culture and kept it going. So, you know, in that case, Elijah Muhammad was a Moor. He studied Moorish Science Temple. You know what I mean? Marcus Garvey definitely had knowledge of it because they were contemporaries of each other. All of these great men. Yet, each one had to do his own thing, probably at times, based on the same thing that's going on now. Because as soon as you like somebody, as soon as you allow yourself or try to bring yourself into thinking of someone else and you kind of agree, you find out some crazy shit about them, you know what I'm saying? And it make you question, you know, what they was kicking. But see, this is where intuition and the M word that a lot of people don't like to use come in my view. The M word being magic. So a magi. Because that is an organic science that requires a certain degree of faith. You know what I'm saying? The same faith it takes you to believe in Jesus is the same faith it takes you to believe in magic or Santa Claus or whatever else you want to believe in. Because it's coming from the same place. Only difference is the frequency that the faith is aspiring itself to is traveling at such a terrific speed that the blackness that it's traveling through is absorbing it as it's coming out. Therefore, you then become what it is you around or give access to your universe. This is why when you hang around somebody, after a while, y'all start using the same slang. Or when two or more women live in a crib, after a certain time, their cycles go in sync. You know what I mean? This is because we're vibrational and magnetic people. Yet a lot of our vibration and magnetism is based on our consciousness and our ability to love things that sometimes don't love us back. So magic in that sense comes from that place, and a lot of us are scared to go there. You know, a lot of our so-called black leaders. So what we do is we allow ourselves to subscribe to ideologies and religious stories that act as a physical validation, something that I can do or see that validates what it is I've given my consciousness to. You know, but if I, you know, cut up these 4 onions and put them in the 4 corners in the crib to suck up all the negative energy in the house and then take them out and then bury them somewhere, and forget about it, you know what I'm saying? that is an act essentially of the same. Only difference is I'm not necessarily subscribing it to a God that is idealized like Jesus Christ. I'm subscribing it to nature and the ever-present forces of the unseen world that understand the symbolic method of what it is I initiated by cutting the onions up and the intent behind that. Because I am to the understanding now that these entities and these things that we give life to and believe in or whatever, they cannot exist here without us. You see? So under the Piscean era, it was about us believing in them to the point of murdering each other to give blood sacrifice to these ideas and these entities and these demiurges to sustain their presence in our everyday lives, you know. Yet now in the so-called Aquarian age, or the age of Heru, you know, it is now understood that these things that I've been doing a knowledge to for all of these years or these centuries or whatever are really just physical representations of alchemical processes that are activating or not activating within me. Therefore, Aseer is the pineal gland. You see what I'm saying? Aset is the hypothalamus. Heru is the pituitary. You see what I'm saying? So when you look at these statues of these things are earthly representations of physical things within you that you have not acknowledged as such. Therefore, we put more emphasis on what is going out than what's coming in. And that's why we lose it. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's a conundrum. So what I'm thinking we do, we get into song real quick. And yeah, we're going to play the song, and when we come back, we get into some calls. Inshallah, the God will be in. To do that, we'll play an Aseer track, Saga Aseer, from the 44 LP. We're going to get some new songs on the playlist too, y'all. This joint is called Black. This is Friday night. Thanks for tuning in. Those people who tune in later, this is Super Heru Radio 3.0, Friday night. And we're going to get into the joint. We'll be back and have some calls. Peace.
When I am dead, wrap the mantle of the red, the black and the green around me. For in the new life I shall rise up with God's grace and blessing to lead the millions of the heights and the triumph that you well know. Look for me in a world when there's a storm. Look for me all around you. For with God's grace, I shall come back with countless millions of black men and women who have died in America, those who have died in the West Indies, and those who have died in Africa to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and life.
Yeah. My black Jew, my black queen. Beautiful black skin. You bring my black children. Help me out of any jam I'm in. Aseer is born with Uncle Sam again. Black moon, black stars, watching out for white DTs, traveling in black cars. Rappers talk about spinning up their black cars, but have a problem believing in the black God. Heru, black manger. White death follows your white savior. The triple black got my back. Way before Obama, my president was black. Black Chuck, black jeans. Yeah, my black empress, my black seed. After puffing on some black weed, my black TV got a black box. Who gon' win the World Series? I'm hoping the Black Sox. My melanin. 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 My melanin.
Yeah. You now rocking with Super Heru Radio 3.0 Friday night. What's up, everybody? That was Saga Assad, the joint black. It's really hot. You can get a free download. Go to MySpace, Saga Assad Ali. Also, you can go to superheruradio.com and you can get it there as well. Also, it'll clear up. When I was talking about twins, I don't want it to be like I'm against, twins or anything like that. I just want it to be understood that there are multi-levels in dealing with that. Because, like, I have two twin brothers, they're fraternal. But fraternal twins are identical twins. Any two babies born the same or born from the same womb at the same time is an energy of sharing that usually has to begin in the womb, but sometimes based on the acts of the mother and the father, there can be tension within that in which, there will be warring, between the two. So when they come out, it's just a continuation of what was, That's why I think awareness of any subject, or any dual nature, because in the higher realms, right, in the realm of, let's say, the eighth that was spoken about by Dr. Pascal Beverly Randolph in a book called Death and the Disembodiment of Man, in the realm of, let's say, the eighth, A-E-T-H, that's Aether. That's a little different. But in the realm of the eighth, you're dealing in duality is seen as singularity, right? So when you incarnate physically, duality is the physical representation of singularity. You see what I'm saying? This is why single people want to be in a union. You know what I mean? This is why anybody wants to be with anybody, because the only way you can truly find out about yourself is by being with someone else, because only they can tell you how you appear. You know what I mean? Because you can only see yourself from the person who you are. You have to learn how to be objective and learn what objectivity is, But again, all of that is based on your consciousness and your character. So, it can go either way. So essentially, any thing that comes in one form is going to come in another. You just have to be aware, and you have to know that you or we are all works in progress. And there are ways to deal with people and ways not to. Like, I saw a couple of shows ago, I made some comments about the speed of light and the fact that darkness moves faster than it and all of it. And his brother named God Emmanuel, forgive me my mispronunciation, I just saw it before my computer went out. And he chose to correct me on YouTube, And I thank you for that, in a sense, because it's always good to be right and exact. But as I stated before, anybody that wants to build with me by anything that I'm saying, you know what I mean, I've given my information out enough for people to holler at me directly. You know what I'm saying? Because the problem with that, this is not to say that this brother's coming from a, trying to be on some bullshit place. But I'm saying this to show and prove that I always put out there that you can build with me directly, where, you don't have to it don't have to be all in public like that, because one of my main things is to continue putting out relevant information. And I appreciate all types of constructive criticism or whatever, but I appreciate it more when it comes to me directly. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you don't need to do tapes or YouTube clips or whatever about me, because I don't do that to anybody. If anybody got anything to say to me or about me, again, my Hotmail is houseofl@hotmail.com, or or you can holler at me through Super Heru Radio or through my website www.aseertogetthekids.com. You know, and we could build, you know, because that's what I'm here to do with the people. But I don't ever want to get wrapped up in anything like that, because you have a lot of people that want to get into the game and be seen, and they use people's names to do that, just like they do in rap, just like they do in boxing, just like they do in everything. And that's the problem. We got to set ourselves apart from that, you know. So again, peace to the brother for the knowledge, and at the same time, he did agree with me. Also, if you're talking to me, you know, talk to me. That's really all I'm saying. So with that, we say peace, and we can get to some calls. Okay, first joint, 493. I do sometimes to let them know, so that they know. You want live with Super Heru Radio?
Peace.
3.0, peace. Morris Brooklyn, what's up, homie?
What the deal? Peace to you, Asad and the Queen.
Peace.
Yeah, man, you covered a lot today. Well, help me understand about...
3.0, baby.
Yeah. Well, help me to understand the difference between the de facto and the de jure was this website I found way back, USA versus US.
Right.
And that helped me understand about, you know, Alice in Wonderland, the Masonic meeting behind Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
You know, bring more light to the Matrix and these different stories, which is basically a different aspect of trying to make you understand what was reality and, you know, what wasn't.
Indeed.
So people could check out that website. Just type in USA versus US.
That's
the other
USA
thing that
versus US, right?
Yeah. The other thing he was talking about was about how they know who you are by your IP address, which is basically your computer social security number.
Exactly. Which got a bond and a birth certificate to it.
Right.
Because you get it.
There's a movie. I forgot the name because, you know, there's always a movie for everything, and we watch so many different movies.
Wait till you see the movie about before you go on, wait till you see the movie about the oil slick they're going to come out with.
Oh, wow. Why not?
Yeah, it's Clooney. It's going to be the star-studded joint. That's the only time we really going to see the truth and what really happened. But so go ahead with what you were saying.
Oh, boy, yeah. So I forgot the name of the movie, but there was a movie where it took place with this albino chick in New York. She was about to get married. Her husband got clapped, I think, in Prospect Park, and she went on a rampage now after she got a gun to kill criminals.
The brave one, which
yeah. In that movie,
she started killing all the black men.
Mm-hmm. In that movie, shows you how people's on the grid, because remember there was a boy that they had wanted to catch, but the boy dropped his iPod.
Mm-hmm.
And in the movie, they explained that they was able to find the dude's address and name because he got his iPod registered.
Exactly.
So anything that you get registered, machine-wise, they know where you are, where you live. That's
the warranty.
Mm-hmm. And where to find you.
The warranty basically is the bond. That makes sense.
Because I have a Canon all-in-one printer, right? Mm-hmm. Every 2 weeks is always asking me, we're doing updates and customer service and want to better our product. Do you want to send everything that you faxed or how you faxed so that we could better our product? And I'm like, hell no. Like, why would I want to do that for?
See?
You know what I'm saying? Norton Antivirus and the greatest criminal, Microsoft, and all these companies always want to so-called update their service based on your activity. Like this is how you're on the grid.
Yeah. This is all I mean. People telling on themselves. Like I said, people watch out for that Facebook virus. That shit is real.
Like we have a living virtual entity already. Like Skynet is here. You could go on Google and see live.
That's what Y2K was. That's what Y2K was.
Mm-hmm.
It was them. It was like war games in the 80s. It was them reaching the level of the computer reaching the level of sentiency where it realized it was alive, and it basically blackmailed them to be like, yo, you got to find ways to keep me alive outside the mainframe organically. And this is when the RFID chips and all this other shit, you know what I mean, they started. Because remember, they had the IBM computer shit that was running Auschwitz and Dachau and all of that in the 30s. You know what I'm saying? But they were running on crude encryption technology based on the serial numbers that they would write on the victims of the concentration camps and shit, you know. But again, those numbers is also connected to accounts because those Nazis was insuring them Auschwitz victims and and charging that back to the German government. And they were using those numbers that they was writing on the people that they was tattooing them with, so that way if they ever need, you see what I'm saying, they would always have the numbers, so that way there was always a bond out on them. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
Which is exactly, again, was fulfilled here, like you said, with the Social Security and all of that. But to me, even the numbers is not really even the problem. It's the implementation and how the numbers is exercised through the military application that makes it such a detriment to the human soul, because it's a unseen, demonic, you know what I'm saying, corporate, you know what I mean, artifice that's using colorable law to establish not only a physical jurisdiction, but a spiritual jurisdiction over the mind, which then turning the body now into the concentration camp as opposed to, you know what I'm saying, the opposite.
I was just building with a sister with that today. I was telling her we need to understand when we get into contracts, it's not only physical, it's also spiritual. Why? For example, if you take a cell phone company, you may not sign a contract with some of them, but your first payment, that's the agreement to the contract. But when you want to cancel, what do they tell you? Oh, you have to wait sometimes 30 days after the full moon. Yep. So that's the spiritual contract.
Exactly.
That has to be
with the mortgage, same thing when you pay the first mortgage thing after you pay the closing fee. The closing fee in the execution on that paper means that you already own the house. It's when you send your first mortgage payments when you enter into that 20-year contract, 30-year contract. You know what I mean?
Right.
But now, like I said, they created a situation has been allowed to permeate because remember, man, at the same time, the civil rights shit and all of that was used for the people to be able to go there and basically integrate into the system. Once they integrated into the system, this is when you started to have the explosion of black mayors and governors and all that all over the country. All of that was great. You know what I'm saying? But what that showed on one level was the white folk knew their time was up. Two, it also now fell on these black people now who had these positions to now implement projects and community things to uplift the black community. They didn't do that. They just maintained the same bullshit and stepped and fetched it, and the communities got worse. Detroit is run by black people, man. You know what I'm saying? Niggas ain't banging on them, no. Niggas ain't banging on that. Niggas ain't banging on unemployment on the state government and all of that. They ain't doing that.
Right.
Because again, it's this, like you said, it's a spiritual contract of you identifying with a corporate identity and thinking that corporate identity is your only identity. That's what I was talking about in the twinning. That's a form of twinning or porcelain programming, when you create an idealized, sensationalized version of the subject by fooling it to believe it's the object. You can't be the subject and the object at the same time. You know what I'm saying? You are the subject until you are obtained, and then you are now the object. So, yeah, man, thanks for that call, brother.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing before I go. Like, this is how you know the machine is coming alive. Google got this Android thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, another name for it is called Google Skynet. Now, it seems... Now, it seems that this Android, who's supposed to anticipate everything that you do on your cell phone and everything that you do on the Internet, seems to be getting a mind of its own, because all of a sudden now Google can't even control its own company software.
You see? It's already done. Yo. That's why they gave that nigga Steve Jobs that cancer shit. Because that nigga was like, yo, y'all niggas is wildin', man. So they said, okay, well, we'll just turn on the Hadron Collider and find another alternative,
Meanwhile, there was computer wars going on, like people getting hurt in Central Park, or somebody getting clapped overseas for releasing the new iPhone and all that.
See, but all of that too is corporate espionage. That's a part of marketing. Some of that shit is marketing. Some of that shit is the marketing company paying some thugs under the table to try to take niggas shit, to make them shit hot, to make it seem like they dope. You know how many people was online for the iPad shit, man?
Yeah, the electronic crack.
Yo, son, that's the line was like, it was like they was giving out bread or soup or something. These people was just like in droves to get this machine with no dial on it, with no fucking melanin receptor on it.
Some dude was here in New York from Europe because he wanted to be the first one to get it. Like, this is the insanity.
See? This is what it is. You think they would come out with a new cure for cancer like that? Or they come out with it for AIDS like that?
Of course
they want to cure for... No, they're not going to do that. They're going to let people get AIDS and all that, but save up their money so they can't get the AZT, so they can get the iPad.
Oh, man, that's the consciousness turn. All right, Moore.
All right, Moore.
Thanks for the info. Peace.
Thank you, King. Peace. Okay. Let's turn next caller. You're on live Super Heru Radio 3.0. Anybody there? Anybody? Guess they're just listening. Somebody else. Hey, you on Super Heru Radio 3.0. Friday night. Anybody listening?
Peace, God.
Peace.
Dr. Aseer.
Peace.
How you doing, man?
I'm good, King. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. This is your militant brother from Maryland.
Hey, what's up, my brother?
Yeah, man, I'm good, dog.
Hell, right?
I mean, I didn't mean to call you that, but, I'm good.
You're back as hell, right? I know you are.
Yeah, I am, cuz. For real. I'm sitting and I'm chilling. I make no excuses for nothing. I'm all right, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, look, you covered a lot of things tonight. And, I mean, like, I should have been, like, writing notes or something like that. But you covered so many things. It was so spectacular. It was right on point. A lot of different things. I mean, like, I was just like, oh, man, he is, like, got this right. You know what I'm saying? So, but I got, like, one or two things. Some of the other callers, sometimes they'll have you on for a little bit. One thing I wanted to cover with you was, okay, so I want to ask you something like, I know that we have been here for billions of years and so forth, and the Atlantis thing and the Lemurian thing. I'm reading some Rudolf Steiner right now, you know what I'm saying, which I've had this book for like 3 or 4 weeks. I should have been into it. I'm enjoying the book. I mean, it's a Peckerwood from way back in Germantown or whatever. We incarnate down here in different races. But what I'm saying is, basically, do you think, because myself personally, being who I am, do you think that there's entities that have incarnated here, that are here, that we are somewhat beyond some of this other crap as far as all this other stuff. I mean, I know we should be paying attention to our situations and our surroundings and all this kind of stuff, but the way I feel is that I've run into some other different people, too, throughout my lifetime, that we've had so many different spiritual experiences where the pineal gland, or whatever you want to call the third eye, pulsating, whatever, had people stick their fingers through there, and it don't even stop, and this kundalini and all this other kind of stuff, man, and that's the kind of stuff been going on with me for years. You know what I'm saying? Orbs, I'm reading out of a book, people jumping up, running out of the room. I'm going like, what's wrong with you? And they saying like, man, look, dude, there's like a light around your head. And I'm like, man, I ain't trying to be no Jesus Christ, but I know all that Jesus consciousness, all that kind of stuff. I know all that. But I'm just saying, do you believe or do you think or have knowledge of certain entities of myself that either been here throughout the years or billions of years or whatever, that we in turn have thought or made a pact, if not made a pact, to be here for a particular ending of all this or a particular time to be here? Or what is going on with us brothers that feel this swirling in our feet that comes up to the heart chakras or whatever, and we stop it, and just feeling all these different things like this and just being able to see beyond the trees and ain't smoked nothing, ain't took no dope, ain't took no acid, no nothing, but we are rising consciously, you know what I'm saying, up to be able to see vision-wise. So, and then I know it's a lot I'm saying on my mouth, but at the same token, too, a lot of us is like feeling like, yo, you know, all this fearing them and all of this, man, we ain't got time to be worrying about them because we evolving so fast. And the things that are happening to us, we could care less about their little agenda. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, maybe I rambled on. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, in terms of your first question, okay, sometimes you're witnessing the entities, right? Sometimes you're witnessing the entities that derive and come to life based on your thoughts.
Okay.
Sometimes you're watching residual energy, meaning leftover energy of something that may have happened in a particular environment with that occurrence taking place. And that's
what I get calls for now. Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you're watching future events that have happened, that may have happened or be happening or will happen at such a frequency that it slowed down for you. Like in that book I was talking about, Death and the Disembodiment of Man, in Chapter 7, Randolph says, by and by, we will all become so sensitive to the spheres of individuals as to understand them perfectly and detect with them unerring certainty of a bad man or woman. No matter how honeyed or plausible their verbal protestations be, you will still know that they are who they really are. So those experiences that you experience are ways of training almost to detect bullshit in the shit that you can see. If you could discern the unseen world, then the seen world is really nothing really to do the knowledge to it. It's just shit that you already know that is going to come into being based on particular patterns that have been initiated, maybe not even by you. So another thing he said thoughts have shape, you know what I mean? And the objects that are seen are phantoms. So when people talk about phantoms, what they're talking about is objects that are taking form based on a certain degree of thought being projected into the idea of it. So we, like you said, are evolving or ascending to such a point where a lot of things that are happening materially are irrelevant to us. Like me and the Queen be laughing at shit that don't be funny, like Cat Williams said. Like I be laughing at shit like that people would almost like cry at. You know what I mean? But it's not that I'm heartless. It's because I see the futility of what's going on. You know, we always lighting candles for the people that's being sacrificed, so it's not like we laughing at them. At least people like us are creating sanctuaries for these souls to go to find refuge, to maybe think about or learn what happened to them before they go to the hereafter.
Okay, so the candle magic, like you said before, is very good as far as like when me and you talked before. We talked about the worship thing. We talked about the veneration thing. We talked about my 6 goddesses that I got around, and I also got like the butterfly maiden, and I got Ishtar, which I believe is like the whore of Babylon or something.
Yeah.
And I read up on both of them. Is she cool to have with me? Because, I mean, I'm a hot brother.
That's one aspect of her, though. But that's the aspect that is...
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. And that's what they always, like, put out on that Wikipedia. They always try to give you the worst of the worst. They don't try to give you the good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But also, too, Dr. Aseer.
There's a book you can get for... There's a book you can get for The Magic Candle.
Oh, I got that. By
Charmaine A.
Right, I got that. Dr. Aseer, trust me, I got like a library of stuff. Most stuff that you might call out, if you keep calling them out to me at different times and I keep calling into you, trust me, I probably got it already. Now, you would say to lend credence to Charmaine Day's book, I mean, should we work that book, work it? Because some parts of it way back in the day, I started working that book, oh, man, this is like over 10, probably, 15 years, whatever it is, way back in the day when I first ran across it. And it did me a lot of different things, but some parts of it, because of my brain and the Catholic upbringing, I had to disassociate myself, and the Christian thing and the Constance, the whatever it is, I'm like, beyond that now. But, I mean, is all of this stuff, all of it is ours? Well, is all of it basically ours or what?
Well, everything belongs to the Creator. So if we create, then we are manifestations of that creation. Therefore, we are creators. You see what I'm saying? So essentially, it's ours. Yeah. The part of it that's not ours, or the part of it that is not of us, is the part that's been injected into it, and that's the artificial nature of whatever the thing is. That's the artificial nature of whatever the thing is.
Okay, so the fluffy bunny wicker, what does he call them, little Wiccans and all that? That fluffy bunny stuff.
They just playing, or that is their version of keeping alive the shit that we are not doing no more. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. Okay, sir, let me ask you something here. I don't want to stay, because I'll call, you can take me off cue and hit me back when you got time for me. Because I only got like 2 other things, you know what I'm saying? Because I wanted to really ask you something really quick. I'm up on this, but there's so many different pale faces that have so many different books as far as, okay, you're going to do your Egyptian divination, you're going to do your rituals, you're going to do this. I've been in this for like 40 years, and I am the expert on this, that, and that. Basically, I'm trying to, like, figure out exactly. I know about the statues. Got some people in the conscious community say put sperm on the forehead of your statues, and it makes a better connection astrally or whatever. I don't know how true that is. My wife is not going along with that because she ain't touching the statues like that. She ain't having it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. But anyway, my queen is like, no, I ain't doing it.
You got to look at the information sometime as to how it's coming. Everybody has a different piece of it right now, and that's the good part. The part that's relevant to you, part about it that is relevant to you. So using your technology around that. You see, it's not about necessarily what other people are doing. It only becomes about what other people are doing, what other people are trying to either do what you do, right, which then makes them unintentional enemy of you, or they are trying to learn how you are doing you, and in that you can call them quote-unquote friends. But in that, even in that, a friendship is something that's built. You know, a lot of people are not friends with the knowledge and shit that they be doing. Like, a lot of people are so into proving something that they're not into understanding it. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
so,
right.
You can't just tell somebody, you can't just come out and tell somebody, put some sperm on the tip of your statue, because the average person, even the average conscious person, is going to look at that as a form of pornography.
Yeah, that's the first thing my lady told me. She was like, no, I'm not doing that. Can I do something else? I told her, I said, well, look, put some spit on there. You know, or I said, or either if you want to, prick your finger and put blood if you don't want. I mean, you know, I was like, hey, it's all about to make you
there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to catch a rat. So you got to do what's comfortable for you. It's just well, I should say members of your generation, right? Because you're my elder, you know what I'm saying? So members of your generation have in them, or what was instilled in them was the idea that you had to have things a certain way. You understand what I'm saying? So things were seen and not heard. You know what I mean? You do this and not that. You do this and that. That whole mentality, right, in my generation interpreted it as, well, then I do me, right? The generation under me took that, was to say the generation in under me said, well, yo, then if they doing then and nobody's looking out for me, I still want to be a child. But because you have so many different groups and organizations with their own version of what a child should be raised like, you see what I'm saying? All of this came into play, and therefore the gap between generations grew wider. So what was supposed to happen was this, was you're telling me how you're seeing it, I'm telling you how I'm seeing it, and then it's helping you in terms of connecting with me, right, which is a representative of my generation, so forth and so on, because members of my own generation, as well as your generation, don't subscribe to what me and you are saying.
Right, exactly, yeah. Yeah.
And I'm talking about the conscious ones. I'm talking about niggas with knowledge. Like, you understand? Like, this is what's going on. Because a lot of them is trying to keep this thing going by trying to make people seem more powerful than they really are, or have more engagements than they really do, and things like that. You know? So we just gotta keep it, you know, as real as possible.
Let me ask you something though. I mean, I know you got to take another caller. Shoot, man, you're going to have to come back to me. But anyway, look, what about us old heads like this, that we already know who we are? We've existed for so long that we contend that we listen to, we love you to death. We love you to death because like you are exactly the epitome of what we knew was coming. We already knew ahead of time and everything else. But yet we still walk around as though we already know, man, like we the gods of the shit. I mean, that's all I can say. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you know, the power runs through us, and it runs straight through our heart chakras and everything else, as though if we could wave our hands, we would do so many different things of what they put on their little TV box, their little idiot lie box. You dig what I'm saying? But we are still here, and what I'm trying to say is, what about us? I mean, do you even know that we exist, or do we exist to y'all, or what? I mean, because it's sort of like we just a bunch of us just sitting back here going like, okay, well, we know that they're here. Like Bobby said on one of his tapes when he was in New York or whatever, you the new hot shit. I didn't appreciate it, but and I watched the way that you took the picture with him. You were respectful. You shook his hand. That was cool. It was all good. I'm not ragging on Bobby, but I'm just saying I saw that. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. That's mine right there. You feel what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, well, I'm just sitting back here. But you was really gracious with all that. You was really gracious and you was real cool. And with that photo op, I want to get this photo op with this Negro. Oh, I didn't like that shit at all, dog. I mean, excuse me.
No, that's real.
You know.
Say what you want here. No, that's real.
Yeah.
But you know what it was, though, at the same time? Well, it is, I think, at least with my situation, I was doing this way before, you know, in the community, amongst the community, you know, for years before I ever did anything on tape or anything like that. So the way that I kind of came into it, I feel I was kind of the last person to come into it through someone who was kind of established in himself in that was Brother G, you know. So being that happened, I am a person who kind of just, for my own reasons, you know what I'm saying? Like, excuse me, speaking of myself, I get real thing because, you know, the way that I've seen this thing develop, at least from my interest into it, it's become a situation where people have almost acted like I'm not there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And did other things to kind of circumvent what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? However, that I know that's what they're supposed to do, because that's how the Creator has allowed to happen for me to see who is doing what.
Exactly. Yeah.
Me, again, I ain't problem with nobody. You know what I'm saying? I don't have nobody in terms of an issue with yet. And I don't think anybody really has an issue with me other than the fact that I don't really participate in a lot of things that other people do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then one of the other shows I was like, see, right now I'm in transition, so I don't have access to my computers the way I would like to, so I'm at the library and some other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like in the middle of a hard place. I went through a real traumatic thing down here, so I'm like back at the family home. My wife is separated from us, but we still together and all that kind of stuff. But we in transition. You dig what I'm saying? So I'm like looking at that, and I'm looking at a few other things, and I'm going like, nah. I'm just, you know, to me, 3.0-Aseer, if I had my way, I would have every tape that you have. Everything, I keep coming back to you because I have given hours and hours and so forth like that into so many different shows, from Dr. Beverly D, to name a few, to the Illuminated One and whatever else. The cream of the crop, and I know I know it sucks, will rise to the top. And the cream has risen to the top, okay? And it is there. I take nothing from nobody, from Miss Blue. I take nothing from Bobby. I take nothing from Panic. I get something from all of them. But if I hadn't got anything from any of them, I would have never got to you.
Indeed,
you see what I'm saying?
And vice versa, and that's what I mean. Like, I grew up on my favorites, you know, Brother Daoud and
oh, yeah. I love that, brother. What I love about him best is his early stuff, his gathering of whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, individually, and even with some of the other brothers you mentioned, you know, I like a lot of stuff they do, too. It's just that the game has been so poisoned, you know what I mean, by some of the same people, you know what I mean? That. Right,
and that's why, like in your background, of your queen was saying on one of yours, I think it was 14 or 13 I've listened to over and over again because it's me at the end. You know what I'm saying? I was standing on the front porch, and I do know I had me a couple of beers that night. I hope I didn't come off on you too wrong. I'm sorry about the militant thing, but you called me out right now, or I'm a straight-up serious militant. You know what I'm saying? Vietnam veteran, twice, 2 tours, the whole thing, I ain't even going to get into it. With the whole civil rights thing, I done all of that. With the posters and being knocked down in New York, with the horses, all of that anyway. But I really appreciate what your lady was saying. And I know by English language, lady might be a wrong term. Anyway, what she was saying before, you know what I'm saying, as far as like your guests, and you don't bring on people for a specific reason because you don't want to, you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
and you kept it family on a family tip. I love that.
But, you know,
I love that.
Another problem, too, that people have with me is her. Is the fact that they think that she tells me what to do. Like, I have...
No, she is... excuse me, I'm not... No disrespect. No disrespect. She is, I got the same kind of lady. I already know. I can see from your lady and him. Oh, no. No, man, she's like real.
But the same people who say this are the people who claim to understand segment and claim to understand our sect and claim to understand Kali and claim to understand, Ishtar or whatever. These people have no idea because these people are still male supremacists. Like, you have people still who want to constrict other people in this thing and make them conform to what they want to be. And this is the problem with not having a structured or centralized form of spiritual and material government, that we all come together and resolve our differences from the different nationalities. Same way you got different states in America, you can have one universal nation of people, and in each state, instead of having the state be whatever the ideology of whatever that group of people is. But instead of us having that, we have a FEMA-backed thing like 2,600 pastors that is a FEMA front that has people from that organization actively doing lectures in the metaphysical community and leading people, to some form of, I guess, Communion spirituality, Christian.
And you ain't going to out them. I mean, you're not going to out them for a particular purpose. You're not going to put them on blast. They already have. So, there's certain ones that, well, I don't want to ask you to put you out there.
You know what, though? Let me get somebody else because we can go in all night together. But I'm going to holler at you.
For real. All right. Hey, peace, man.
Pete, but listen, I thank you as the elder for calling in and expressing that elder statesman point of view as to what's going on. I'll be saying this shit. And, unfortunately, sometimes I can't say things like that. But
I know exactly. Right. My bad.
The fact that you did lets me know that other people see that. And with that, I say to you, brother, thank you.
Oh, can I, just one more thing, please. If these statues, can we use these statues in the circumstance of being able to gather the energy from them from just owning them and having them, or what? Or is it a waste of time to even have them or collect them?
No, me personally, I believe nothing that you do that represents the unseen realm. Anything you do to represent the unseen realm here is a form of prayer and spiritual transition in which you are bringing the unseen to the scene by having this physical representation of this element, which may be the statue, basket, or whatever in your crib.
So is prayer good? Is prayer of any sort if you make them yourself or you use even the Psalms in the Christian Bible? Is prayer good?
Yeah. I believe anything is good if you're doing it for a good intent. It's going
the intention. Okay. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
No doubt, King. Thank you for the respect. Peace. All right. That was dope. It's really good when elders can call in, man, and really keep it real. Because these dudes really, some people really, anyway. You now on with Super Heru Radio 3.0 Friday night. Anybody there? Peace.
Hello?
Peace, Paul. What's going on?
How you doing, Mo? All right. I'm chilling. I got a quick question, you know what I'm saying? One, is I was doing a little bit of a knowledge of the Kalo territory, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, with the Kalusha people. And I'm trying to understand, like, is there any connection? Because, you know, I'm of Haitian background, you feel me? And, you know, the island's right there. Is there any connection to Haiti and the territory of the corporate state of Florida?
Of course. The whole state of Florida is under the jurisdiction of the people who came to be known as the Seminole. You know what I mean? But before that, they basically had an import-export business that took oranges to different parts of the world and traded with different people as well through what we would call Washita proper or whatever. All of those governments and all of those peoples were a part of a 13-zone, 48-state government that was known as the so-called Monarchan Empire, MONOKHAN. You probably never find it listed as that. You'll find different variations of that. Monarchan is another way of saying Moroccan or Mohawken, right?
Yeah.
These guys basically, the islands that existed, you know, Haiti, St. Croix, Virgin Islands, all of those islands are basically just different parts of a universal empire or people that was split up into different tribes and regions based on customs and caste. You know what I'm saying? So you, as a Haitian now, right, you are more, right? But you being a more doesn't make you not a Haitian person or somebody from Haiti. That just makes you a more from Haiti. You know what I'm saying? If you lived in Jamaica, you just be a more in Jamaica. You see what I'm saying? That don't mean you're not Jamaican. It's just that you are not, your nationality is a part of something older. You know what I'm saying? That defines modern description based on a limited aspect of how it's given. So the people you talking about are just different subgroups, you know what I'm saying, of nobles that existed in these so-called lands and territories. It's the same thing. Like they don't look different from them and that so-called Arawaks, but we've been trained that Native American people look like the people we see in Dances with Wolves and shit. And those people are actually white people, so-called Caucasian people, who chose to adopt the ways of the Moors, indigenous, aboriginal, native black people who was already running shit. You see what I'm saying? But we gave them the claims and all of that based on the fact that they were the amalgamation between us and females from places like Dravidia, which is now India, or Kush, which is now Hindustan, or, India, and all of that now. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. So, yeah, that's a good way to go in terms of research, definitely.
All right, I appreciate that. But one question on a lighter note, not so on a lighter note, but music-wise, with the hip-hop. I don't know if you've been, cause I was following on people dropping music at certain times. It's kind of interesting that, like, man, people are dropping mixtapes and singles, you know what I'm saying, more day week, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And being in Florida right now, you know, they got the big shit popping down in the beach area. And things I haven't been there, but I could feel the energy for some reason, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying?
It's real big.
Yeah. What's the significance of that, basically? You know what I'm saying? Everybody dropping everything right now. You know what I'm saying? Even Kanye, Jay. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, niggas gotta come out now while the iron hot, because there really is no music industry no more. Like they agreed to put out bullshit or to put out shit based on a certain person's design. So they chose not to be real with their art. So they chose their art to be corporate to make money. So now that they made all their money off their art died. So now they got to redo their art, or at least do it to mimic whoever's the hottest now. Yeah. Whoever's the hottest is chosen by whoever's the most controllable. You see what I'm saying? So the more controllable you are, the more money you're going to get. That's just the game. So essentially, these niggas will act like bosses and all of that. You know what I mean? But behind closed doors, these niggas do what they told. You know what I mean? I mean, the most paid ones. Whereas people like me and you that really do music, we can keep making real good music. These niggas know the shit they putting out is whack. You know what I'm saying? But they going to keep doing it because their job is to keep us from doing it. So they got to do what they got to do. So essentially, the more glitz and glam your shit is, you know what I mean, the more fluff and whack it is. You know what I mean? Kanye West is different in a sense because he's really creative. He's really creative. But he's creative because he talks about truthful shit in his shit. He's an asshole and all that, but the shit he talk about be real.
Yeah.
He talk about that he's an asshole. He said, yo, I'll do anything for a blonde dyke. He wound up getting one. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, niggas is taking shit physical. So Lil Wayne come out, and Lil Wayne got to put out mad shit at once. Everybody following what Tupac did. Tupac is the Christ of the shit. So they all following his blueprint. This nigga died. He got songs that we'll never hear. So essentially, that's all that is. It's just another distraction. But thanks for calling, my brother.
Appreciate that, man.
Peace, King. Peace. You on Super 8 Radio?
All right, greetings.
Peace, greetings.
Greetings. I have my radio turned down. Are you speaking with me right now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, wonderful. Greetings, brother. Brandon
cool, man.
From Leaf City, Charleston, South Carolina.
That's what's up. What's up, brother?
Hey, man, greetings. Wow, bro, everything's really, really coming together here. I wanted to reach out to you today and connect because, I've written you an email about this crystal thing, but, I don't know.
Is it Brian?
What's that? Can you hear me?
Is it Brian?
No, Brandon, yeah.
Brandon, what's up, homie?
Greetings, bro. Greetings. Hey, thanks for that book, man. That publication is something else, bro.
Thank you, King. I'm glad you got it.
I realized, excuse me, you said something?
No, I said go ahead.
Right. I realized that, most of the communication that we're all doing anyway, with all this Facebook and shit and all that kind of thing, I think I'm a little behind your generation. I'm a little younger than you. And, it's your perspective has really helped me to see this thing. Hey, man, get the fuck out of the digital world.
Yeah, dude.
And get yourself in this world. Man,
you gotta get in.
Yeah, exactly. But basically, here's what's going down, bro. My part of this particular thing is has to do with these crystals. Now, I know I've written you emails and things. I was born Caucasian. I was incarnated in a Caucasoid family. Even my family, I told them when I was young, when I would see black people, I would be like, that's us when we get older,
Right.
And
yeah, they didn't like to hear that, though.
Yeah, no, I mean, because, of course, my family was hijacked by aliens. You know what I'm saying? So, the stepdad who came in, he, that was his main thing was take that out. Being that I was born in Flowtown and gravitated to Charleston, the holy city where all these artifacts for the foundation of the country are.
That's right.
And,
right.
these hell nuts that we're busting here are,
right.
Hey, we're really feeling it, man. It's really going down. It's no
serious,
joke.
Serious, homie.
So, yo. Okay.
Now, I'm gonna get with you on that. I'm gonna get with you on that on a personal tip. Is just
that's right. I want you to know, hey, no joke. I will be down in Miami soon. I'm really feeling this oil spill.
We should link up.
One more time.
I mean, I said I'm gonna holler at you on the email. When things slow up a second.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure that most of what we need to do is probably is being done anyway.
Yeah, but still, son, every little bit helps. Every little bit helps.
Exactly.
Every little thing somebody's doing to break this shit down is going to ultimately get us all where we need to go. And the fact that you can do the knowledge to that born as you were born, as a man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even talking about you as a Caucasian. I'm talking about you as a living person, as a man. You have, again, ascended. You basically represent like 1% of everybody that look like you. And that's not being elitist. It's just, but again, you are not doing it from the perspective of you hating them, though. You understand what I'm saying? Like a lot of
I really do.
Caucasian people who see it will take one extreme to the next. It seems you've ridden the middle path based on working with these crystals. You understand what I'm saying? To get to this point, where we could be
brother, it's not only working with the crystals, but working with melanin. I mean, that's the thing that, you know, because I'm in Caucasian skin, but I have a melanin heart. You know what I mean? And it's just it's something, bro.
Everybody that's listening needs to hear shit like that. Like Caucasian people need to talk like that. Because it would be I live in a building right now with a chick that's about to get a Haitian baby or African baby or some shit, and she won't speak to any of the Jamaican niggas that live next door to her. But every time she see me, she say what's up because I don't speak with an accent. This is the type of shit that's going down. So what happens when you bring this baby home or whatever, and this baby get bagged up on some weed shit or whatever else? What are you gonna do? Right. This is what I mean, though. But essentially, thanks to your call, brother. I'm going to get one more before we go out, but I'm going to holler at you soon.
Yeah, that's
thanks for that call.
All right, bro.
All right? Peace, G. That was dope. You know what I mean? One more call. Hey, this is Super Heru Radio 3.0 Friday night. What's up? Anybody in? Somebody in one. Peace. Peace.
Dr. Aseer.
Peace. I can hear you. Hello? Nope, went out. Hey, Super Heru Radio 3.0. Anybody there?
Hey, Peace.
Peace.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, what's good, baby? You know what I'm saying? I Peace. I heard you say, you know what I'm saying, that was the last call, but I heard you not getting in, so let me go ahead and
I wanted to get one more, you know?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Man, the Albion that called in, man, that was beautiful, brother, because, you know, that was like the 1%, you know what I'm saying?
That's right, brother. We was all witness to that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just happened to witness. I just, you know, I was turning in and out, driving in the car. I was like, wait a minute, let me stop the car. You know, that was a moment. But, you know what I'm saying? If that ain't enough to let us that what you're talking about and what the movement is going on is real, because, you know what I'm saying, it's easy to point the finger at them because they're obvious, you know what I'm saying, what at the time, you know what I'm saying, but the reality of it is when your heart can move past that, like his heart was moving past, you know what I'm saying, the finger pointing and whatever, you know, we have to do to point out who is you know, handling all these this negative spirit movement, you know, since the time they had control of our magic, you know what I mean? But the reality of the story is what he's trying to show us is he's trying to hand us back our magic. Like, hey,
that's it, brother. That's all it is, and that's what I'm taking. That's the vein I'm taking it in. So that's the vein it's gonna come. You understand? I'm not gonna treat this nigga the way that his other people was trying to treat him or whatever, because he at least is showing civilization. This is what it was. You see what I'm saying? This is why we gave them a thought at the upper part of their head that they would always know and keep the secrets of the original man. This is what they supposed to do. So it was my job to not disrespect and be real. But I'm sorry, I gotta cut it real quick because we're down like 53 seconds. But we're gonna be on Monday.
Huh?
We're gonna be on Monday, same time, 9 to 11. So please tune in.
All right,
thank you for that, though, brother. I'm glad we could experience that together, you know?
Yeah, I got you. All right, peace.
That's what it is, peace. So with that, this was the first inauguration episode of Super Heru 3.0 Friday night. Big up to Saga Saad Ali. Definitely, I know he in it, you know what I mean? We all holding it down for you, homie, but we definitely Gonna have more for y'all to do the knowledge too. Brothers working on music. Thank you for support. Thank you for all the donations. Thank you, everybody that's been listening. Every dollar helps. We getting these projects out. We maintaining it, staying ahead of the game. And One Monkey Don't Stop No Show.